The second, language. When I made Hyderabad Blues, again, English, Hindi, Telugu. That's the way most Hyderabadis speak. Most middle class educated Hyderabadis speak. I use that language. Now, the films, unlike any other art form, are a serious business, so everything is about money. So when it comes time to sell the film, the constant refrain becomes, what is the language? So the next time around I said, okay, I'm going to try and simplify it. So Rockford went almost entirely in English. Good. Things worked well. Followed it up with Bollywood calling English again. Then I came to Kinvare, where the problem became, if I had a film in English and the film was set in an Indian prison, then how do you get all of the characters to speak English? Since I focus so heavily on language, I truly believe, it's funny here when we watch commercial cinema, and I'm not tagging anyone, they get a lot of primarily actresses, because they're all disposable. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but that's the way the industry operates. English-speaking actresses, Hindi-speaking actresses who come and spout Telugu dialogue. And most of the times, the director on the set is saying, just move your lips. I'm not kidding. This is the way it works. Just move your lips and, flash those brilliant smiles, and at key moments turn away from the camera, and the rest they take care of dubbing. They actually do that. I'm not making this up. And to me, it never made any sense that when you talk about a performance, how so little attention is paid to the language. And in my films, I try and focus very hard on justifying the way my characters speak. If I break the rules, for example, in Door, I went with a lot more of drama. That was the genre I was going for. So the space was dramatic and everything. The lines that I chose were a lot more dramatic. So in that context, yes, it's a village girl from rural Rajasthan, but she spouted some pretty heavy stuff. But I put the film in that space and let the audience sort of get accustomed to it, then I give them those lines. So I've always focused very hard on language. So when the first bunch of films happened in English, the repeated problem became that it was very restrictive. Restrictive in terms of audiences. Because then I was just pretty much stuck to the 6 metros, and the films never went into what we call the B and C centers, where fortunately or unfortunately, the bulk of the commercial cinema money comes from, which is where the distributors play their game. So after HB2, it probably had a little to do with the amazing success of HB2. For those who saw HB2, it didn't work actually. I decided to actually veer away and make my first Hindi language film, and which was Iqbal. And like I said, since language was a key issue, I was not going to have people in rural India speak English. So it was not about an outsider's look at that, but to get the actual flavor. So we used whatever we thought was the appropriate Hindi. The third, we had genre, we had language, and the aesthetic. The first set of my films dealt predominantly with the urban milieu. So, as a filmmaker, when I lens a film, I physically don't do it. I have a cinematographer who does that. I have to give him some kind of guideline. I've always tried to focus on another fancy term that I used to describe my films, real fiction. So the idea is, my stories are entirely fictional, but I try and set them in a space as real as possible in order for the audience to be able to identify with it easily. Characters speak the way normal human beings do. Yes, in extraordinary circumstances, we do get more dramatic, which we all do. So, so right up until HB2, my films had a very urban feel to them. But in India, again the business side of films, we're constantly, we don't have different slots. Like I said, there's commerce, there's art. So when even a regular audience member goes to see a film, you just go directly saying, "Arey, commercial film hai yaar, chalo." Which means you've already wound yourself, you put yourself in that mental state where you're going to sit in a theater and be told a film in a certain style. Locations will be unreal. Even Sita sitting in the middle of Ashok one will have thick makeup with blue eyeshadow. Characters will speak completely with different educational levels. It doesn't matter. But you put yourself in that frame of mind. And for me, it was key that if I was addressing such an audience, then I had to find, again, the right space. Because with Hindi, the market had opened up big time. But I had to find the right space wherein I get them into a theater and I say, "Hey, listen, I don't have any fancy songs. It's going to be a simple tale. Again, no makeup. I shoot all my films without makeup, even right down to 8x10 if anyone bothered to watch it. So I make sure that it is as real as it gets. Then I let my story unfold. Luckily, I wouldn't be standing here otherwise. Iqbal worked. I remember I was telling when all of us, Subhash guy produced the film, and we were sitting there and talking, and I said, seriously, if this film doesn't work, then I don't know what does. Because then I should just go back to making, 50 lakh or 1 crore films in English and just deal with my urban audience. But it worked, which absolutely goes to prove the point. This nonsense about audiences don't accept stuff is a huge cop-out. Because I think constantly filmmakers have had the easy way out, because literally the business is run by a very, very small group of people, and their likes and dislikes pretty much dictate what happens. So when I make films, these are the 3 things that I focus on. And let me tell you right off the bat that there is absolutely no guarantee that sticking to these 3 things, believing in what I want to say, and following through guarantees any kind of success. If anything that I've learned in these, it's not 12 years. Finally, this year, I managed to break even with the number of years I spent as a chemical engineer. Because I think even until a few years ago, people were saying, are you planning to go back to chemi? And there was a constant need to justify my position as a filmmaker. So there's absolutely no guarantee of success. But I think the thing that obviously I forgot to mention the couple of films where I completely followed these rules and it didn't work. Who's seen Bombay Bangkok? You guys, I'm going to meet each one of y'all personally, shake your hands. You guys are the true fans.